Good evening. We're still here and we're still going. And I hope you enjoy this show because I'm doing it just for you. Weirdo. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. I'm blown away. Yes, yes, I am. I'm blown away. I hope you like the sound of my voice when I'm this close. Although I'm slightly blurred, I'm told my voice sounds very, very good at this angle. But I had to change that because you can see my face. And obviously that's the main draw here. So not my ugly bearded face. Anyhow, bosses of the internet, fitness world, fitness. I can say fitness. Here we go. We have a question from a client of all people asking me how to help. Now, this is something that I can do. I'm quite good at this. So I'm going to share this with you as I read it out. Okay, bear with me. It says, do you know a good nutritionist that can recommend me with my diet plan? Well, yes, I do. And that's number one. You might hear the Ravellers going past outside because we're outside Harbour Bridge. And there's a pub down that way, which is this way on Videoland, called the Australian Hotel. And you can hear them all coming out now, pissed up. Anyway, each to their own. Anyway, do you know a good nutritionist you can recommend me? I need big help with my diet plan. And of course, my response here is yes, it's me. I can do this. And then it goes into the details. It says, I need a proper diet plan. I struggle with putting on weight and now lost another kilo or two. I swear I have long limbs without the bum now. My arms are too long and skinny. No matter what other people say, I don't like myself like this at all. I need an extra 3 to 5 kilos. I know what to eat. I know what veggies got carbs, which got proteins, how much proteins. I need to build muscles, what the size of the meals are, how many times a day, blah, 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 and nothing. I keep on losing the weight. Okay. So maybe there's something I have to do right before and after my training. I'm not the best in nutrition side of my work yet. My smallest thighs are loose after 1 week of holidays. I look older in the face as I have no fat. Okay. I don't know what to do. And all I have is this bloody liver dysfunction, which doesn't allow me to eat things I would usually eat and put on weight. Maybe I need some blood tests. Wow. Well, this is a pretty live wire here, isn't it? There's lots of stuff happening, okay? So a proper diet plan. Well, what is a proper diet plan? Is it Jenny Craig? Is it Weight Watchers? Is it something out of the CSIRO diet book? What is a diet plan? If you go to a supermarket or a bookstore, there are thousands of different, sorry, I am showing my age here. Online, there are millions of programs that you can choose from to follow to increase or improve your nutrition. Most of them are orientated towards weight loss, and very few of them will be towards weight gain. So it's important here to understand this is a friend of ours called, we'll call her Maggie, because that's her name, basically who need help with putting on weight. Now, part of what I know about Maggie is that she is an active person, a very active person, and works in the fitness industry, which means that she's working out 2 or 3 times a day to an extreme where she's breaking a sweat. And each of those workouts is then giving her at least maybe, I would estimate for the duration and intensity that I know that she works at, 400 to 600 calories for those minimum. And I'm being quite conservative, but it could be anywhere up to 800 calories a day. Now, if we add in her resting metabolic rate, which approximately is about 1,600, 1,500, plus 3 times 600, we have 1,800. So we are up to 2,800, 3,400. Then we have an add-on for her daily allowance, and we're already up to almost 4,000 calories of exercise or activity that's going out of the body. She's quite a tall lady, not short, and she's 30 years old. Now, these are the things: active lifestyle. She's a tall lady, she's 30 years old, and she has a liver disorder and certain amount of allergies that she's unable to eat certain foods, which throws us a little bit of a curveball when it comes down to assessing or giving her a solution as to what it is she's able to eat in order to put on weight. Now, people like Michael Phelps, who are working up to 12,000 calories a day through their training program when they're in training mode, have to make up the gap from deriving their nutritional macros every day and the surplus energy that they're using. Now, they eat so much junk food, but they can justify it. You can't eat that amount of junk food if you are basically not putting the output in the first place. So what they do is scientifically, they have balanced out what he's working, the nutritional element he needs to continually develop his muscles, the hydration, the minerals and vitamins, and then there's a surplus every day of energy. Like living in the North Pole, they have to have butter in their cocoa because they need a certain amount of calories to expend on generating heat above and beyond people in warmer climes like in Australia, where we don't need as many calories because the heat is very temporal. You know, it's just in the middle way there. So fundamentally what's happening is Maggie is under eating, and she might not be able to understand that because she's eating a lot, but she's not eating enough. So what she's fundamentally doing is she's destroying her body from the inside. Every time she's having a workout, the body has to scavenge around and find those additional 2,000 calories that she's probably not eating every day. And when you consider there's 9,000 calories in 1 kilo of fat, and if she's losing weight so much it's coming off of her face, that's when we start to realize just how little energy she has on her body, or how slow her metabolism is in comparison, not slow because she's not doing something right, in comparison to the amount of energy that she requires every day. Now, the danger there is that if she has no fat or she's not receiving periodic input of carbs, what she's now doing is she's also starting to break down the muscles as a means of providing energy to an ever hungry, never satisfied system. So this will exacerbate certain pathologies in the body and make things a lot harder for her body to process things on an ongoing and sustainable basis. So if we really project and extrapolate what she's doing further, she's put herself on a collision course with absolutely damaging her organs, or giving herself a condition damaging her bones, the quality of the muscles and skin. All the systems of the body will become severely compromised to a level where it might take a long time to recover if she's able to do so at all. So fundamentally, she has to be proactive in doing a number of things in order to recover from the situation that she's in. Now, the easiest thing she could do, first of all, is stop exercising. Stop it. She needs to stop exercising completely. She's in no need of doing exercise if she's becoming so thin. What's happening is the energy that she's expending somewhere that isn't essential for her can be dismissed completely to begin with. So the first thing I would say that she has to do is stop the exercises, stop working out with clients, and just focus, first of all, on the basic thing. Number one, water. That's something everybody can do. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're some kind of couch potato, it doesn't matter. The first thing you can do is focus on the water. Once you get that right, you carry that water with you everywhere you go, and you drink that shit every day, and make sure you're filling up your reserves of water to a point where you're no longer dehydrated, and the systems of the body start to flush everything. The lymphatic system is your drainage system, which takes all the toxins out of the body and basically starts to do some really, really important housekeeping in there on a level where the body isn't disrupted by rigorous periods or intervals of training, which just make the body go into some kind of deepened shock. Because what Maggie's in at the moment is some kind of metabolic shock syndrome. And that's not pleasant for her, because it's hard for her to get that right. Once she gets that wrong, oops. So basically, she's going to find that harder to sustain. Hold on 2 secs. The video has gone again. I will fix this sooner or later. I'm sure I'll get this right. But hey, so she's in metabolic shock. Now, basically, she's cut out the exercise. So what's next? Well, the next thing I would suggest that she does for her own benefit, and being a woman also, is do get those blood tests and a P test or whatever she has to do, but get those blood tests and get the results back to make sure she's not anemic, that she hasn't got some kind of low red or white blood cell count, something's wrong with her, and make sure that everything inside of the body, her fat levels are normal, and that she hasn't got some kind of chemical imbalance in her hormones. That's partly one of the problems that you'll find can happen quite frequently when people have allowed things to go too far. They've pushed the boat out far too far, and now they have to compensate for that. Okay, so the blood test will give us a good insight as to what's happening, science fact underneath the covers, which is more important than anything, so we can make a plan that meets up with scientifically proven aspects of what's happening to her body. We don't want to guess. We want to use as much science as possible. So once she's got that, what she's looking for is she needs to be starting to think about a number of things that she can do in order to prevent this from being an ongoing issue. So the blood tests, and then I've suggested that she go and get a DEXA scan. So we're going to run another seminar on what DEXA scans are, but basically it's a body composition scan. So she can get a snapshot of how her body is now. And whereas that's not essential, what it is essential for is for her to understand how her recovery has processed from how it is to where it's going to be, and for her to identify the path quite clearly that's taken for her to get there. So it's okay telling her what to do, but she has to be now consciously aware of every step she's going to take in order to recover. That's the important part. So this snapshot of how her body is now, malnourished, shocked, and in stress, she needs to take a snapshot, and DEXA scan is the best way of doing that. Again, science fact with the blood, science fact with the DEXA, science fact with how much food she's going to put in there, and the hydration has to be based on continual, repeated performance that is adjusted and modified. Okay, so now we've got that right. So then she needs to actually discover how much energy it is she is using throughout the day. Now, she can use a mathematical formula to calculate that, or she can use a body weight monitor or a heart rate monitor, to calculate. If she keeps that on, it's a little uncomfortable, I'll admit that, to keep a thing strapped around your waist and around your chest for a whole 24 hours. But one of the most efficient ways, based on your height and weight and the level of exertion, by calculating or keeping track of your heart rate on your smartphone or actually on the device itself, will give you a good and precise indicator of what your actual usage of energy in calories or kilojoules will be. Once you've got that, and we can derive, okay, she's so much weight, she needs to have so many carbs to increase her muscle mass, so she'd have to go to a gram, gram and a half, 2 grams max per kilo body weight to make up for the damage that she's done, to help her recover, eating that 4 or 5 times a day with small snacks in between, and then how much carbohydrate she needs, how much fat she can have, and her calorific amount will be higher than the level that she's actually using. It must be higher. But because of her pathology, her liver dysfunction, and because of her allergies, we'll have to source foods that are easily digestible and high in calorific value. So she'll have to think about how much fat her body can handle, how much she can eat in one go to increase the amount of energy that won't be used to replenish the weight on her body. Now, whereas we want to build muscle, we're not particularly worried at this stage if we add some fat, because she's expressed how her face is looking gaunt, and that can be just through losing too much weight too quickly. And basically then we can help to replace that. Now, don't worry, because most people who carry more weight, one of the best things about this is bodybuilders will stack on weight and carry around pre-metabolized energy on their bodies, okay? Which means that they're able to use and access that onboard energy, okay? So adding a little bit of fat for somebody who's lost too much, who feels they look like a stick insect, not a bad thing. Most people can use that energy efficiently later down the line as part of a bigger picture, okay? We wouldn't suggest you just put on weight ad nauseum, because it's not for everybody, okay? So we have to find out then what her goal is, what her ideal weight is, and add the plan calorifically to determine over a certain period how long it's going to take her to put that weight on, providing she sticks with the same diet. Now, one of the things I've suggested is that she has an in advance menu of food that she completely sticks to and doesn't vary from for 7 days. Completely the same food each 24 hours at the same times. This is just methodical. It's an easy way, boring as it is, to be able to pinpoint what happens if we stick with this. No allergies, no contaminants, nothing she can't eat. Everything is good to a certain level above and beyond what we've established is her level of output each day. We marry those up, and then by being strict like that, she starts to see a picture that she can develop in her mind. Yes? And then she's able to say, right, okay, this was the result of those 7 days. Now, 7 days isn't a major amount of time. It gives us a chance to adjust and apply the principles and make things different. So the second week, we can change it up again. We might want to change it again. If she could handle the same food, it would be the same kind of food, but different types of protein, different types of carbs. But then she'll start to liberally have a volume of foods that she can put in eventually 7 different days of 7 different types of food, that then she can start to bleed in with other things. Now, as a sub note to that, part of what she's going to have to do is there's no alcohol. Unfortunately, no alcohol, because this is just going to fuck everything up, isn't it? It's the random part here. We need to have complete compliance with these requests, otherwise things will not work out. Okay, so basically then she has to do the same amount of exercise if she's going to do it to the same level, using her monitor to say that's 400 calories. You've got to stop there. If she needs to do that, we can put that in as well, but she has to make sure she's still adding food in. That's why I suggest that fundamentally she finished doing that. Okay, once she's appraised that after the first week, we take into consideration what the result was. We can weigh her on normal scales or on body composition scales, and then do that all over again. Okay, so we can see before we send her after week 1 onto a different element, adjusting the diet, adjusting whatever she's doing, hydration, carbs, proteins, fat, etc. Then we can see what revisions we have to make and then apply them to week 2. With her preparing fresh seasonal food on a daily basis and repeating that diet every day, she can then do the same thing for week 2. And then it'll be easy for us to make observations based on what the results were and discover what the root of this is. Okay, so I've got a sneaking suspicion the camera's going to switch itself off, but I'll fix it. Okay, so then basically we then do this for 4 weeks, introducing small elements of exercise, but at no cost is she allowed to build up a deficit of energy again, because she's already running at 1, and that's where the problems are. So we're thinking more of components of food, the exercise component, and making sure that if she's exercising just for equilibrium or for the hormonal release, or the benefits of something or other, then she's taking into consideration you've got to put that energy straight back in and not chip away at what we've already just built back up again. After 4 glorious weeks of doing this and adjusting enough to give her the results that keep her on track to putting on more weight, we send her for DEXA scan number 2. And then we have 2 sets of statistical analysis to see that the direct result of sticking to this very, very controlled plan has been XYZ. Here is your result. Now, we know what the story is. It's given her a relatively long period for her to understand the process of garnishing the body with carbs, protein, fats, making up for a deficit by exercising and making up for that exercise at that amount of energy, and keeping that ball going so her digestive system, everything isn't affected by her pathologies and illnesses, and gives her the peace of mind to say, okay, I'm comfortable in knowing where I went wrong, and can prevent this now by going back to this plan and just sticking with something very simple, making sure my quotas are met every day, so I'm not theoretically starving my body on any level whatsoever. From hydration to macros to micros, everything is taken into consideration. As she starts to get bigger, as she starts to get fatter and more muscles, this Popeye here, as the musculature starts to get better, then she can start to be scientific in how she adjusts her diet and sticks to the same pattern and quantities of protein in order to sustain her weight. Now, once she hits a weight that she's happy with, she'll probably be able to start it reintroducing, instead of just changing the diet too radically, going back to slightly more workouts and keeping a nice little up and down level like this for the rest of her earthly days. That's all there is to it. So basically, some of the equipment I've suggest that she needs: a food steamer, electric Tefal steamer, time to shop, time actually to get out and buy the food daily, okay, for fresh ingredients, a heart rate monitor, a water bottle, and the fresh food daily. Basically is what I've suggested. Simple base framework to start and add, and really working with trial and error. You can go into some kind of strict plan, but what's important is that it's specific to you and modified to meet your requirements and your lifestyle. This is very important. I think she's not getting, and her energy supplies are far too low, and it's fixed with a little bit of patience and a lot of science, okay? So take into consideration, you're not going to take wild stabs in the dark anymore. You're actually going to apply consistent theory over and over again with a suck it and see, trial and error, and make sure that you quickly adjust that to make sure that nothing is left to the imagination, and that we've considered most aspects of why this is happening to her. And it's pretty simple. Your energy out is too much and your energy in is too little. The type of energy in also has to be much more specific, and you have to stop exercise until you start seeing some kind of improvement. It's a process that's simple and effective and doesn't need to be complex. You just need to be structured and simple so you can monitor your results and change things as needed, applying these things consistently, which is key here. And it would take a couple of hours for me to go through it. And she's told me, the people telling you can't eat eggs every day, you can't eat red meat every day, I have a blood type O, which needs blah, blah, blah. You don't have carbs, you have to eat bread, pasta, blah, blah, blah. The poor girl sounds like she's been confused more than anything by listening to assholes who've just given her a whole bunch of platitudes and simple one-liners just to control her without knowing or thinking broadly as to what it is that's happening to her. So what do I eat if my overall energy supply is low? And she needs then to know. So what we'd do then is we'd take her to a supermarket and go through the basics of saying, this is what you're going to eat for this week. This is how much protein, this is what it looks like. This is how you're going to cook it. This is what you do. You put them all in boxes in the morning, you take it out with you, go to work with it, you keep it with you keep your snacks, you keep your food, you can eat what you like in there, and it's got to be done within certain intervals throughout the day, and you're going to make sure you do the same thing for 7 days consistently without variation, if you want to get better. If you don't, fuck it, do what you like, but otherwise, if you want to get better, you've got to follow the program. She's been talking about having broths, and she's been taking advice from other people and some of the other trainers, what they do, but I've told her and reassured her that they're all going to be different, and everybody has to make their minds up as to what they want to do and what their objectives are, and everybody has to focus on this. You start with a blank piece of paper, not forms that have been written out for other people, a blank piece of paper. We formulate a plan from scratch with you there in terms that you understand, take you by the hand, show you the ropes, give you the guidelines. That's the way this is done, okay? So yeah, so basically she wants to put on 3 to 5 kilos in the next few weeks, easy fucking peasy. And she looks like she's got no butt. Well, she's gonna have to work on that and learn about how much energy you're putting in, the type of energy your body is demanding, meet those parameters, then top up with other foods to compensate for any shortages in training. And you can't gain weight from broths, and you can't not eat protein. You've got to do that, it won't work otherwise. So part of what we're going to try and do is train Maggie to do these things. And what we're going to do is take her to a supermarket, and we're going to fill her trolley with a day's basket, I should say, with a day's worth of shopping. And she's going to then come with us, and we're going to cook it for her and prepare it and put it into a box for her and show exactly what she has to do for the next 7 days. And all she's got to do then, fundamentally, is eat her 5 meals or 5 intervals throughout the day and make sure she completes the food. It's not good that she gets to the end of the day and says, I didn't have enough time to eat the food I prepared. What's the point of doing it? We've got to make sure that she does. And one of the luxuries here is how she can have more food. Now, saying that, she's trying to put on weight. How do we do it when people want to lose weight? We do the opposite. There's no fucking mystery there. We just reduce down calories a little bit and take away from something so we can use the existing weight on the body and cut that down gradually over a period, which gives you the result that you want in the long run. But we will introduce more variety once you understand what the components of food we're asking you to eat are and how you self-administer those on an ongoing basis. And the best way to do that is to have a very strict 1 week of the same foods providing adequate nutrition and hydration on macro and micro levels throughout the whole week. So you go away and then you start to have your epiphany and go, oh, I see now how this all works. And if I do more exercise, the weight comes off slightly faster, and I have to make sure I'm not overdoing it and find that balance. And then providing there's no pathology or illnesses, everything comes together. I am thanked and everybody is happy. So let's just see what else happens here. And here we go. She needs to adjust and plan, show you the easiest way to calculate your macros, never listen to what others have to say. And it's true. Listen to one person. The Spaniards say, 1 doctor will cure you, 2 will quarrel, and 3 will kill you. And that's the way that works with trainers. No, you can't do this, you can't do that. Pick one, go with it. If they give you advice, doesn't work, ask for your money back. Or don't pay them. It's simple, isn't it? Okay. She has to get a regular schedule, and she has to go, first of all, in the meantime, so we can meet up. One of the best things she can do, go get a blood test, her fasting glucose blood test, all those kind of things. Get the DEXA scan, any other P test or anything she needs to get. But once she's done all those little fundamentals, then we can get cracking the whip, okay? So, yeah, and I've recommended a couple of different types of heart rate monitor, like the Fitbit, or a very popular one, which is the Polar ones, which are quite accurate, I think. But on most iPhones, you find that they have them on there. So her steamer is very important because it's something that she can get wholesome foods and know exactly what element of nutrition she's eating. And I find it quite an interesting way when you steam chicken and you steam fish. She could fry food. It wouldn't really make much a difference in this consideration. It's not going to really break it down, but I think it helps the liver if food is simply prepared, and it can derive more direct value from fresh food with a high enzyme count, and able to give the body the things it needs without having to struggle around to patch together crappy old enzymes from processed foods and protein shakes that have been sitting on a shelf for almost a year in some warehouse, which really isn't going to cut the cake. So what we have to do is find a nice way of showing her an easy way of sustainably and practically preparing her food so she can eat that throughout the day. This is really good. I like this one. So I'll keep you posted on this one, and we'll go through how her progress is, and we'll do little updates. How good's that? How good am I? Did you like that? I thought it was pretty fluid myself. Now, other people might not agree. Now, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, I'd like to hear from you, because it's very interesting. If you are unsure what I'm saying, if I haven't expressed myself, because I sometimes don't speak proper England, and, I might sound a little bit English because I was born there. But at the end of the day, if you'd like me to express something that's more particular to you, okay, camera's gone. That's all right. I'm going to say goodbye now. Let me know, and I'm there. pat@ilovept.com. I'm not going to get up, fix the camera. I love you. Thank you for listening. Good night, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.